I think we'll get started. Today, it's been probably a couple of months since the last time we did one of these. A ton has been going on. We had the holidays in between, but we've been working like crazy and really had our heads down building. I think for us, the last couple months have been focusing on really getting everything laid out so that we can build the best game possible and the best experiences possible, as well as obviously continuing marketing, continuing talking to different communities and different members for membership in the 100, and just all the fun stuff that kind of happens behind the scenes with a project like this. A couple things that I'm really excited about that I want to give you guys updates on, and some of it you've already seen in the announcements channel. I guess first, for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm one of the project founders with Jose. My name's Nick. I'm the head of Apollo NFT Studios and Apollo NFT, and have been working with Jose, who's my grandfather, for the last 2.5 years in the NFT space, and so this has all been an amazing journey. And I'm always telling everybody that I can't be more grateful for this community, and the enthusiasm you all have about this project is what kind of keeps all of us going. I know sometimes we have long days and stressful days, but knowing that we're creating something awesome for you guys is kind of what drives me. And I'm excited because our team has grown. I think we started, when we started this project, we were about 15 people, and now we're about 25 people. And so one of those people who you'll get to meet very soon is Josh Morton, who I'm so happy to have him on board. He's going to be a really, really major player in everything we're doing. He has 20 years of AAA gaming experience. He's coming on as the production lead, and I'll let him tell you a little bit about himself and all that he's got planned. But he's also been in the NFT space for the last 4 years, and so having someone like that who has all that experience in the traditional gaming space and has built several games, but also someone who is well versed in NFTs and understands play to earn and tokenomics and all these other things that are so important to this new landscape. I'm just excited to have someone like that, and I think we're very lucky to have him. And then, of course, we have Santi, who is our art director and is very involved with the design of the game itself. He's going to be showing you guys some awesome stuff that I've been seeing kind of for the last week now, and it's been taking everything in my power not to just drop it in the forum and say, hey guys, check this out. But we wanted to save it for today so that you could all see it at the same time and get excited with us. And then I'll give you a little bit of, at the end, I'll give you guys some more insight into where things are going. We definitely want to make these sorts of project updates, and we're going to do Twitter Spaces as well more regularly, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But the last month or so has been a lot of scrambling to get all the pieces in place and really driving everything forward, which I think you'll see as Josh and Santi give you the updates. A few other little things. We had been working on updating the website that's now been updated. There's a bunch of new features, and you can see everything's a little bit cleaner looking and updated to reflect the fact that the sale's over now. With that, there's a new roadmap that has some important dates. I will say that roadmap is kind of a very high level view. We're working on several other things that will be announced in the coming months. But we're kind of the philosophy that we want to make sure that we have cleared everything and checked all the boxes before we announce something, so that when we announce it, it's for sure going to happen, and we can live up to all the promises that we make. So there's certain things that aren't on the roadmap that are major and things that we're working on, but they'll be announced as soon as they're ready. Apart from that, I think we are gonna show you some really cool stuff that we've been working on this call, and then I'll give you some more insight at the end of the call on what's to come. So with that, I turn it to Josh to introduce himself and talk to you a little bit more about the game design.
Yeah, right. Hello, everybody. Everybody hear me okay? Cool. Yeah, your audio cut out for some reason, Nick. Oh, I guess because you're mute. It's all right. So yeah, my name is Josh Morton. I've been working behind the scenes with the team for a couple of weeks, more than that now. Um, and so a little bit before about me before I joined the team. I've been in the crypto space since third quarter of 2017. Um, Came into the space with a background in game production, game development, game design. And when I basically beyond crypto discovered specifically what NFTs were, immediately I was thinking how that could be applied to video games. And so I started down my path, trying to figure out, how to take this idea of like personal ownership in the video game space. But jump before that, experience wise, I started off working, actually, I was going to say EA, but really Sony. I worked at Sony for 6 weeks before jumping to EA. Worked on some Lord of the Rings properties there, Battlefield 2. And then from there moved over to Sega and was at Sega for quite some time. Worked on a lot of projects, but yeah, there's a long list of things there. I started off in QA management and then moved over to production there. And then most recently, I worked at 2K Games. Came in and was handed Duke Nukem Forever to get that finished with Gearbox, something that had been in development for a very long time, and helped to finish that. Then moved on to a couple other projects. Darkness, helped out with some Spec Ops: The Line. But my major contribution and most of my time was spent working with Firaxis, which used to be Microprose, a game studio that made the Civilization series, Sid Meier's Civilization. So I worked on the Civ 5 team. I led the project when we were making the Civ 5 Brave New World expansion, which is the last expansion for Civ 5, which I consider to be the best one, of course. And then also brought in my love for my favorite PC game growing up was XCOM. So that being the same company that had made XCOM, we made made the new XCOM. And so and additional background. I taught for 7 years at the Academy of Art University in San Francisco. Taught students game design, game prototyping. Teach them all about the process of pre-production and organizing, and creating your game design documentation and all that sort of thing. And so I'm bringing all that in to apply all of that process and experience to make the game that we're going to be working on, which I'll touch on at a high level. We're really fleshing out the details of the larger game design document, and then we have some more focus on what we're going to be doing more immediately. So in addition to just play to earn elements that we want to bring to the space and NFTs and that sort of thing, I can share that what we're doing is making something that's like an action RPG, third person. So something, one of Nick's favorite games of all time is Diablo 2, Diablo 3. So that's heavily inspired in what we're doing here. Some other heavy inspiration comes from some other games we love. The Witcher 3, Hades. So kind of some generative map creation, character development, loot that's rare. Again, that trying to keep it high level because, things are always, we're working on what the specifics are so we can make this a unique experience and make it something that's actually fun and compelling to play, and that your only reason for being here isn't just so that you can earn. I truly think this is a new paradigm in the change of the space and the experiences people are going to have. We're also talking about, again, this high level, but how we connect all of this experience out into the metaverse. So this not just being some little standalone, game, but a broader experience and what that means, social spaces, things like that. So yeah, I came in working with these guys. I love working with them so far. They work so hard. They're so smart. I get along great with them. We're just the creative process and everything is going really smoothly, just getting more and more organized and more and more ready to actually make something awesome. So I couldn't be more excited myself. I can't wait till we're actually out there playing this with you guys. I'm just as excited to do it. So yeah, I think maybe I leave it there before I divulge too much. I am a talker. You'll find out. I can blab on forever. So I'll hold myself and pass it on to Santi so he can actually show you some of the cool stuff we're working on.
Yeah, sure thing. So welcome to the team, Josh. I think we're more than happy to have you aboard, and I think you're going to bring a ton of stuff, especially experience, to the team, and we're super happy to have you on board. So I'm going to share my screen here. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Yep. Good.
And be sure you guys click on the watch stream button so that it blows up and it fills your screen.
Right. So just super quickly, I'm going to run. So before anything, I have to tell you that this is just like the starting phase of the game and the level design, and everything that you're going to see today is just work in progress, and nothing is final here. It's just like we're super excited of what we're working on, and so we wanted to show you guys some updates, but nothing that you're going to see here is final, and it's just us playing around with all the concepts that we have been developing for the last couple of months. So I think a super important thing to start with is how we want each run of the game to feel like it's a completely unique experience, and so we want to programmatically generate every single level and every single run. So the way that you are going to run through every time that you play the game, it's going to be different. And this is just a simple conceptual drawing of how we are going to create those levels. And basically, we have agreed that we have that we choose from where we choose different models based on a beginning and an end, and that creates a path that is going to basically create the way that we're going to move around the level. So this is just super simple stuff, and this is just conceptual, but later on I'm going to show you some quick updates on this that are super cool and we're super excited to show. On the other hand, we've been working on character development a lot, and we've been working specifically on the defenders of Fiat, which are the bad guys. I don't know if everyone here has read lore. If you haven't, I think that you should. It's fantastic, and it gives you an insight on what the game is going to be about, and the entire Satoshiverse, what it's going to be about. So I think it's cool if you guys do read it. And for those of you who have read it already, you know that the defenders of Fiat are the bad guys, and that they have a set of drones that both construct the world, but also are there to basically oversee and control the general population. So this is our first concept for drones. There's a ton of cool details that are based on an architectural style and a like a stylistic movement that is called I'm short here of memory, sorry.
Art Deco.
Art Deco, thank you, Josh. Which is basically a movement that appeared in the beginning of the 20th century, and it had this elegant style that really adored that was a reflection of the economic development of the world during the beginning of the 20th century. So we imagined that the defenders of Fiat would probably have this aesthetic as well. This is a drone while it's closed, but we also have a version while it's open. And the basic concept of our drone was to this dichotomy between this beautiful drone that looks inoffensive while it's closed, and once it opens, it becomes this super industrial and brutal element that brings fear to everyone that sees it. So I'm going to come close here and maybe check some details. And these are just concepts and super early versions of what we're going for, but I think it gives you an insight of what we want to what we want the style of the Defenders of Fiat to be. The idea of everything is that it also feels super steampunk, and so there's going to be tons of gears and cables and steam, of course, to the design of the Defenders of Fiat. I'm going to continue with another example of the basic soldier of the Defenders of Fiat. This is while the helmet is closed, and this is while the helmet is open. So here again, we see the same stylistic decisions of how we want them to feel like they are soldiers, but once again, they are elegant and they are Art Deco-ish, and without losing the idea of steampunk. The idea behind using the steampunk style is also that imagine these people that are so heavily inspired by money and by greed, that they would love the Industrial Revolution, where actually the entire economical system that we contemporarily have appeared. So we really want to reference a lot of that style that appeared during that period, without losing the idea that this is in the future and this is futuristic. So it's this play between and this balancing act between these two ideas, right? So we already have a ton of details that I think we're going to show you guys even later with pictures and stuff that we're going to share with the community. But I think our team has done a fantastic job here with tons of little, and this might give you an insight of different elements of the story that we're developing. So yeah, I'm super happy with the progress that we've been doing with the soldiers, specifically the amount of detail and love that everyone in the team has to create these models. I'm going to show you guys how this looks in like different poses, not in a T pose, because I think this way looks 10 times cooler. Haven't released this yet, but this is the new logo of the Defenders of Fiat. Again, it's heavily inspired by a ton of stuff, but especially by the dollar and all the iconography that it has, referencing the Illuminati and all these like underground movement that sort of moves the world. So I also think of the Defenders of Fiat as this movement that sort of, it's like the Illuminati and all these people like sort of going to the surface and showing themselves. So this is also a reference to that. I'm going to show you one last piece, and then we'll go to the even cooler stuff. So again, nothing of this is final, and don't pay attention to the context. It's just a way to check the models and for them to look cool. I'm going to finish with a little demo of what we've been developing from the art and game design. So this level is not randomized yet, but the idea here was to explore the idea of how we wanted for each run, for the player in each run to have an idea of free will and an idea of choice. So we don't want to create like a single path for the character for the player to move on, but we want to create this idea of you can move all around the world, and even though it's not an open world, you sort of feel that the world is alive and that you can move all around. And so you can either move over here through this little bridge, or you can go to the left or right over here. I'm going to sprint here, but you can decide to go through this path or through this one. And again, everything is going to change every single time that you run through the game. So this is going to be completely generated for you guys in real time every time that you play the game. But here you can see sort of some of the cyberpunk stuff that we're sort of thinking for the first couple of levels, which are going to probably be developed in the outskirts, which are the outer part of the city where most of the population lives, where our legionnaires are going to start a revolution. So this gives you also an insight of some stylistic vocabulary that we're going for. Again, this is just this is in super early stages, so nothing here is final. So our idea here is also to start thinking about how you are going to see how the world changes depending on both the combat system and the enemies that appear in the world. This is not referenced here yet, but every single prop that appears in the world is going to be dependent on how we want the people to strategize depending on enemies. So in the future, all these little elements are going to respond to the different enemies that spawn in the world. I think there's a ton of super cool stuff that we're going to release a little gameplay video, and you can see this with more detail. But this gives you like a first approach of how the world is going to look and how the world is going to look. We've been also playing around with the mechanics of how the player move, but again, this is not a done thing. This is like early stages. But the most important thing here is that I think the team has been working really hard and creating something that feels very high end and very different to everything that is out there right now in the play to earn market. And I think that's what we're actually going for to create this dynamic and these visuals and this world that feels super high end and that feels like nothing that is out there right now. And so I'm going to go back a little bit, but again, the level becomes sort of this puzzle where you have choice. So we could go through another space, and we appear into a completely different environment, even though it has a beginning and an end. Then our idea with these worlds is that they feel like they are open and open and like super dependent on your decisions. So this gives you a first insight. Like you see, not all objects are have the collisions very well developed yet. So if there's a little like problem, please forgive us. But yes, I don't know if Josh or Nick want to comment on this a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm stoked. I don't necessarily have the game, design background that you guys do, so I haven't seen this. And when I saw this for the first time, I was like, yes, this is exactly what I'm hoping this will one day be. And this is I'm hoping that this gets all of you excited, because it's definitely getting me excited. We obviously have a long way to go, and one of the things we will be definitely doing over the next 6-7 months is having community feedback, having you all see these sorts of things. Obviously, whenever you see things that we release, feel free to drop notes and suggestions, or in general, we take that stuff to heart. We really try to incorporate as much as we can, and we may, and we likely will, try to find ways to get stuff that you guys say or create even into the game. I think there's a lot of opportunities to have the community play a role in the development, and we did a little bit of that with the naming of the various different characters, and I think there's going to be a lot more of that specifically for Legionnaire holders going forward. And yeah, I'm super excited. I every time I see an update, I get really excited, and now that you guys have seen it, I can't wait to keep sharing this with you guys and the rest of the community. Yeah. So cool. I guess if that's it for you, Santi, or do you have
Yeah,
anything?
sure.
Okay.
I'll hand it over to you, Nick, then.
Great. No. Okay, so we're gonna start wrapping up. You heard from Josh. You saw what Santi had. I have a couple more things I want to talk to all of you about what's coming. Where things are going. Obviously, our biggest focus right now is on the game. We're shoring up the design documents. We are moving full steam ahead on the art creation and the game mechanics and all the crazy things that happen behind the scene. We're now 25 people working on this game specifically, which is a pretty good sized team, and we're all full time laser focused on this. But we also have a few things that we've been working on the side to keep things really cool for you guys and continue to engage with all of you. One of those things is the something that we talked about a little bit earlier, which is the late claims procedure. This is really to keep it short, for people who bought so the pre-sale tokens, were on the snapshot but then missed the claim window. And so we have an account where several revealed Legionnaires are being stored, and we're working on a procedure that will basically allow the people who missed the claim, a 2 to 3 month window where they can come and it'll verify their account, it'll verify that they were on the snapshot, and then it'll create we'll have a process of randomly selecting Legionnaires from that account and then they'll be able to claim those Legionnaires. So that's something we're working on. Should have that out in the next 1 to 2 weeks. We're continuing to talk to community leaders from other projects. I think one of the coolest things about our project is the 100, and it's something that we're going to continue to expand upon as we build out the game. Those 100 members are all pretty much right now supporters of the project, investors in the project. We have so many huge people, thought leaders, and not just like influencers, but people who are really doing things to move the space forward. People like artists like Hackatow and Trevor Jones and Decentraland and Nifty Gateway and Maker's Place and all these Yield Guild games, all these different companies. There's several others that I'm missing game credits, that are really focused on moving the gaming space forward, moving the NFT space forward, and we're lucky to have them. And the goal is to continue to expand upon that. We're almost done with the community 100 members, the first batch. So those will be hopefully released in the next couple of weeks. We'll be minting all of the 100 members and finalizing those. Those of you who are part of that will get previews, or have already gotten previews. I guess, okay, so one important thing, we're going to, today, we're actually not going to be doing like a big Q&A session. We wanted to have this more focused on presenting everything. The goal for the Q&As will actually be that we do those on Twitter so that we can have a broader community in there. Of course, feel free to post questions and whatnot in the Discord after this. But for this one, we wanted to make sure, since it is more limited and it's just video, we wanted to make sure that we could show you guys everything that we've been working on. But our plan is to have pretty consistent Twitter spaces where people will be able to ask questions and all of that. And then there is one more thing I want to show you guys, and I think it's pretty exciting. And that is the wearables that we are creating with Decentraland for your Legionnaires. So I'm going to try to do this and not screw it up. All right, so here is an example of.
See it.
Can you see it or not? No. Is it working okay? Josh,
Yeah, it was working.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, yeah, there might have been a little bit of a lag. So here is a work in progress version of the Decentraland wearables that we are building. As you can see, they go on the Decentraland character. They can. The goal will be for you to be able to use them in world and for us to have all sorts of meetups. What you'll see, for example, is this one has the red Dia de los Muertos pattern. The idea here will be that each wearable is tied to the primary color or pattern of your Legionnaire. So if you have a blue Legionnaire color pattern, it'll be a blue armor. And so what's cool about this, which I think is really innovative and something that Decentraland is doing with these new wearable collections, is that the wearable itself will be tied to the Legionnaire NFT. And so by owning the Legionnaire NFT, you'll have the wearable. And if the Legionnaire NFT is transferred, or if you buy one, that will then allow you to have the wearable that goes with that one. And so we're excited. This is still, at least a few weeks away. We're working with the Decentraland team now, making sure everything works properly. But we wanted to show you this because we think it's going to be super cool. And we're going to put together a space. We have a lot of land in Decentraland, so we're going to put together a space for gatherings and parties and stuff so that we can be meeting in the metaverse. Because for me, that's probably the coolest thing about all this. And I hope that I can announce soon that these are all good to go and that we are ready to meet in the metaverse. But I think that's how I want to end today. I think, like I said, feel free to drop questions in general when we're done. We're happy to answer questions that you have. Some of it we may not be able to answer right now just because we're working on, defining things, and there's certain things that we just need some more time to define, but we can tell you that. And yeah, I'm so excited to keep moving forward. Happy to have such a great community, happy to have Josh and Santi and the rest of the team all grinding on this. And thank you all for coming, and we will see you soon.
See you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.